Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Carrie Swore. I'm Chief Growth Officer for Urban Teachers. Excited for you to join us tonight for a Q&A with our City Year alums who are now at Urban Teachers. I am going to quickly go over a couple slides here to give you an overview of our program and then quickly jump into Q&A with our City Year alums. And hopefully I'll start the conversation with questions that I have. Hopefully you don't hear too much here. I hear a little bit. And then open it up for questions to folks who are listening. I'm gonna, just in case, I'm gonna put in my earphones. Okay, so Urban Teachers is a 4-year commitment. It was created as an alternative teacher prep program to really train teachers differently and more thoroughly for the job. So it is a 4-year program. It starts with the 15-month residency, not 15 years, 15-month residency where you're co-teaching alongside a host teacher, in fact, 2 different host teachers in 2 summers where we really train you, where you get over 1,500 hours of real experience in the classroom while you're earning a master's from Johns Hopkins University School of Ed. You get to preference your city. We work in Baltimore, DC, and Dallas-Fort Worth. You also get to preference your program of study. We have 3 programs of study, and I think 2 are represented here tonight. We have elementary ed that does include pre-K. We have secondary English language arts, and we have secondary math. All 3 come with a second focus in special ed, and you get 2 certifications either in one of those grade and content bands and special ed. And if you're like my friends in Terrence and Namani in Dallas-Fort Worth, you also get a 3rd certification in English as a second language. So that's something we're only offering in Dallas-Fort Worth. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to go to Dallas-Fort Worth, and we can start the site wars a little bit later. All right, so from there, from the residency, after you pass through, we do have accountability sort of bars for you to go through each year of the program. You have to maintain certain GPA for your master's, meet teaching practice expectations, and really demonstrate high levels of growth mindset and professionalism. And my colleagues can speak to what it's all about. So if you pass through the residency year, you start your first year of teaching in year 2. You finish your master's degree at the end of year 2. And then you move on to year 3. It's in year 3 that you get certified, so it happens at the end, and we do that through a combination of demonstrating student achievement with pre and post standardized tests, increasing teacher practice expectations, and again, showing that demonstration of growth mindset and professionalism. Over those first 3 years, you also get over 100 hours of one-on-one coaching, so hopefully my colleagues will talk about some of the coaching experiences they got and how that's really helped them improve their teaching practice. And then after those first 3 years, then you have one more year, year 4, to finish out your year. So Wendy is our 4th year on the call tonight, so she can speak to her growth from her first year as a resident all the way to her 4th year as a teacher in DC Public Schools in DC. So there's many opportunities to take on leadership roles at your school and with Urban Teachers, whether it's a summer or as a summer mentor or department chair, IEP chair, all those kinds of things start to happen for folks by year 4 because of the expertise that you have at your schools. All right, then quickly I'm going to cover, this is like a crazy slide to share, but with all the details. But the idea is that it's meant to show you the costs and benefits of our program. And just going to sort of talk through the money because this is important and the number one question that you all have. So during the residency, we do give you a $20,000 stipend to live on. We pay your room and board for the first summer. We pay your health care through Johns Hopkins School of Education. We pay for all of your books and materials for the graduate degree as well. And then you're eligible for federal financial aid. So as you go through our program or apply, you can fill out a FAFSA and submit it to Johns Hopkins School of Ed Department of, or the Financial Aid Office. And once you're accepted, they'll act on it. And the timing of when you get financial aid will come when the bills are due. So we have 4 tuition bills that will be paid out in fall, spring over the first 2 years of $10,000 each. Currently, we still have Siegel AmeriCorps Education Awards, so you can earn up to 2 with Urban Teachers. That City Year folks come in with at least 1 or 2, you can get 2 over a lifetime. So if you already have them, you can use them towards our program. You can earn up to 2. Since you all are AmeriCorps, you probably know that there is significant cuts recommended by the federal government or by Trump's budget. So we'll see where this all lands, and as soon as we know anything, we'll be keeping folks up to speed on what's going on with AmeriCorps. But as of now, we're still expecting at least the ability to get an additional Siegel AmeriCorps award for this coming year. Urban Teachers is a AmeriCorps affiliate program, so none of our operations or our budget is reliant on AmeriCorps money. It just makes our program more affordable for our participants. Year 2 is when you get the full teacher salary and benefits. It's very competitive and actually pretty similar in all three cities that we work in. The average salary is between usually $46,000 to $50,000 for first-year teachers. And each of our partners also very much wants to pay teachers who are effective more. So there is what's known as pay for performance in almost all of the school partners that we work in. So the idea being that if you come to Urban Teachers, that we really prepare you thoroughly for the job, and that the school districts that we place you in will pay you according, for being an effective teacher. So it's a little bit different in each of our sites, and we're happy to talk through. You can definitely look at our partner websites as well to look at their specific salaries. So starting year 3 is when, if you did take federal financial aid, that's when loan repayment would start. And if you teach beyond into year 6, there's some really nice teaching federal loan forgiveness programs for teaching. So if you teach for 5 years and you teach in math or special ed, you can waive up to $17,500 off your loans. So that is definitely something we want you to be aware of and interested in. We definitely want our teachers to be viewing themselves as career teachers and want you to be thinking in the long term. So we think that's a good federal loan product for our folks. There's also the Teach Grant that's worth usually up to $4,000 a year, and you can earn up to 2 of those. And then there's some other sort of state-specific programs that are worth checking out as well. In particular, Maryland has a really nice one that Urban Teachers is written into called the Janet Hoffman Loan Assistance Program. So Baltimore friends, that makes it really affordable to do our program in Baltimore. So that's my very quick overview that I wanted to go through before I jumped in and started the conversation with my colleagues around the country. So I wanted to start, if you could, each of you introduce yourself and say which city year you went to, what cohort year you are, what program of study, and what you're teaching right now. And I don't know if you see things the same way I do, but right now I have Wendy at the top of my Brady Bunch boxes. Wendy, you want to kick that off?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Wendy Wakefield. I served city year Philadelphia, 2012-2013. I joined Urban Teachers in 2013, and I am currently in the secondary math and special ed program. I'm in my 4th year of the program, and I currently teach high school Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 for a DC public high school, and I'm also a special education teacher.
Mm-hmm. Great. Scott, I see you next.
Oh, next. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Scott Aguila, and I did city year San Jose, Silicon Valley from 2012 I did 3 years of it starting in 2012. And I'm teaching kindergarten in City Springs Elementary.
As a first-year teacher. Yep.
And a first-year teacher. That's right. Thank you.
Yep. Great. Then I see Angel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angel. I did city year in Los Angeles, 2015-16. Currently, I'm a resident with Urban Teachers cohort, DC cohort 2016, and I teach 2nd grade at a charter school.
Great. And then Terrence, you want to go? And then Amani?
Hey, I'm Terrence Smith. I did city year Orlando, year 2014-2015. I'm in my first residency year with Urban Teachers in Dallas, Texas, and I teach fourth grade.
Great. Hey, Imani. Hi there.
I'm Imani Brooks. I did City Year Los Angeles from 2014 to 2016. I did 2 years. I'm in the Dallas cohort. I'm a resident. It's my first year, and I teach kindergarten at an Uplift charter school in DeSoto.
Okay. And then Tiara.
Hi, my name is Tiara. I did City Year New York 2014. I'm a first year fellow in the Baltimore 2015 cohort, and I currently teach fourth grade math.
Great. Good. So the first question I wanted to kick out to you guys is if you could explain how you think City Year prepared you to become a teacher with Urban Teachers. Did City Year give you a leg up, you think?
I'll go.
Tiara?
I would definitely say help with building relationships, because with City Year, we spend a lot of time with your students. You spend a lot of time like getting to know them and getting to know what works for them. And that really helped me in my first year as a resident, because I wouldn't say so good, but I knew how to get to know students on a personal level, which helped me be able to teach them on like a educational level.
Anyone else?
I think City Year really prepared me in learning about students, going into the classroom and not automatically I know a child's background because of the way they look. So it really taught me how to, very similar to what Tiara said, just get to know students, learn a lot about ways to connect with them, like beyond just the physical. Because I think I went in with the idea of, oh, well, I'm Black, my student's gonna be Black, this would be easy for me, and it wasn't. So learning how to connect with them beyond our racial connections. Oh, and also perseverance, because City was tough. So it taught me perseverance too.
Great. Anybody else want to weigh in?
I definitely agree with what was said. I also think it's important to know that the two experiences are very different. So the City Year experience was very valuable for some reasons, and the Urban Teachers experience is very valuable for very different set of reasons. And I think the biggest difference comes with the fact that Urban Teachers is training you and preparing you to be a highly effective teacher. So that the difference in like the training that we get here and the preparation, the coursework that we take, it's different. Like I definitely agree, like the City Year experience will prepare you with like being able to push through when things get tough. But I just personally think that what I've learned in the two experiences has been completely different and very valuable for separate but both great ways.
So I will, I'm going to go off script a little bit and say once in a while we'll get somebody from City Year being like, I think I'm good to go right into the classroom from City Year. So I'd love for you to talk about why, if you think that's a good thought to have, or now that you're in your, either your first year or your fourth year with Urban Teachers.
Well, at least for me and for my City Year site, we were push-in. So we weren't allowed to like pull out and be alone with students. So being a teacher and being a AmeriCorps person in the classroom is completely different. Like with AmeriCorps, you're like one-to-one with the student, but as a teacher, you're responsible for everybody. Everyone's personality all at the same time, like it's all on you, opposed to like being an assistant or a help in the classroom. It's all on you. I was not ready to be by myself in the classroom.
I think City Year gives you a leg up in terms of when you come into the program, you definitely have some advantages over some colleagues of yours that have not been in urban education classrooms, but City Year doesn't prepare you to lead a classroom by yourself, but it definitely gives you a leg up, but you definitely need the training to take on a class by yourself.
I'd love to get you to talk about whether or not you knew you wanted to be a teacher before City Year, if it was City Year that really turned you on to the career, and basically how you got to Urban Teachers too. Wants to talk about that.
Well, I'll start. For me, when I was in college, my plan was to go to law school. So, like, I applied to law school, I took the LSAT, I did all those things. And at the time, I thought it was an unfortunate event that I didn't get into any school. So my plan was to do city year. I worked with I liked working with kids. Like, I'll do city year, and then I'll take the LSAT again and go to law school. But once I started working, I worked with high school students with city year. But once I started working there, like, I just loved the experience of working with kids and being in an education setting. So then I ended up doing another year of city year, which was crazy to me, but I just really enjoyed working with my kids. That's how I met Angel. We did city year together. But yeah, now that I've done city year, it definitely helped me see that education is where I want to be. I don't know if I'll be a classroom teacher like forever, but I know I definitely want to stay in education. It's definitely very, very hard. So it's harder than city year. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, this experience, but it's definitely worth it on those field days when your lessons are just amazing and your kids are listening to you. It makes it all worth it.
Great. Anyone else want to talk about their path from city year to urban teachers?
Well, for me, so in college, I had some experience working with kids in like different settings and like tutoring, things like that. And so I knew I was interested in education, but I didn't know if I wanted to be a teacher. And I thought doing city year would help me like figure that out while doing something important. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. Like, after doing city year, I realized I wanted to be a teacher. And at the same time, I felt like I wasn't ready to just be fully in charge of a classroom. So when I saw the residency model, I knew that was like right up my alley.
Anyone else want to weigh in on that? And then I'll talk about, I know folks usually like to hear about what a typical day is. So I love a resident and a first year teacher and Wendy to sort of walk through what a normal day is like for them. What resident would like to do that? Terrence?
Okay. So my day starts, it starts very early. I think we have to be at school by 7:25. And then you go through a regular school day, so from 7:25 to about 3 p.m. And then from there, I go straight to coursework. Today is Monday, so Mondays are a special day. We take 2 classes. So today my classes are from 4:15 to 8:45. So we're here all night. And then the other days is the regular 4 to 6 class schedule. But this is a Monday through Friday thing every day. You get tired. You will be tired. But like Imani said earlier, it is extremely worth it. I never feel like my day has been wasted, or even on days where I feel like I may have failed in a particular area, I don't feel like it was a waste. I feel like it was just a lesson that I learned, and I can now do something different the next day. So our days are jam-packed, but they're full of things that you carry on to the next day.
Great. One of the first year teachers, either Scott or Tiara, you want to talk through your day? Duke it out.
Well, I can talk about my day briefly. So, yeah, for me, school starts at 8:10. Kids show up at 7:40. I like to get there early when the custodians get there. So I'm there in the morning when it's still dark, getting prepped, because I'm a morning person. And as a first year teacher, I still do have coursework, and I lost internet connection for a bit, so I'm not sure if this was like, obviously the coursework is front loaded your resident year. So for me, that means once a week on Wednesdays in the evenings, having a 3-hour course. But otherwise, I'm just focusing on getting to school early, getting prepped, being there with the students. Sometimes staying a little bit later after school to make phone calls or meet with parents. But yeah, that's just like a snapshot.
Would you say that first year teaching feels like a lighter load than your residency year?
It does, because for me it feels more focused. My residency, I felt like I was a full-time student, and in certain respects, like a full-time teacher, even though I was under a host teacher. So a lighter workload because I don't feel like as pulled in different directions.
Great. Okay, Wendy, what's it like as a third-year teacher?
So as a third-year teacher, you are done with your coursework, which is great. But you seem to find things to fill your time. So like Carrie said earlier, I work my days from 8 to 3:30. This year I'm the special education department chair, so I find a lot of my time being taken up with that. In addition, we teach 3 periods a day at Woodson on a 4-block schedule. And then after school, we have various meetings for different academies you might be a part of. And then in addition, I also work for Urban Teachers, so I use my time there. I'm a graduate assistant and also one of the course instructors. So even though I'm not in school anymore, I still feel like I have very little free time, but it's all for the benefit. I feel really good in terms of my teaching practice. That's gotten a lot better and I'm a lot more comfortable, but I'm still very busy.
Great. So I'd love for folks to hear a little bit about how the coaching has helped you. So I think that's sort of a hidden. So if you could be really specific about some things that coaching helped to improve your teaching practice, so folks from City Year can really understand what that aspect of our program really does for your teaching. So maybe the residents and first-year teachers also still get coaching too. Wendy's done. Wendy, you can speak to how it's helped you to get where you are.
So for one of the coaching cycles, we have to meet with our coach and go over a lesson plan that we're going to be doing, teaching in the future. And those sessions have been very helpful because you get to sit down one-on-one with somebody to flush out an entire lesson and make sure you have every component that you want, make sure you're incorporating multiple ways for students to demonstrate their learning. And you get to do that multiple times throughout the year. So those have been really helpful for me just to know what to do when I am on my own. And to know that if I have any questions or I'm not sure that I'm reaching all students or I'm able to reach all students, then I know that my coach will be there to help me. And something that was really great that I got to experience really recently was I had a coach for my first summer, and that person came in to observe me for a different lesson now a couple months later. So just thinking back to how I was over the summer when that person observed me to how I was last week when they came to observe me, that just felt really good for myself to just know that this person was able to see me grow, and just myself like being able to reflect on how I've grown and just from the summer to now has been really great. And just knowing that they're available to help give you feedback whenever you need it.
Great. How about as a first-year teacher, how are you using the coaching in your first year versus your residency year?
Yeah, for me, it feels similar in a lot of respects. I think there's that very tight connection between theory and practice because the professors you're working with are sometimes also like in your classroom, seeing firsthand what you're doing, and giving you feedback, things to work on. Yeah, I'm thinking about like if there's any like big meaningful differences for me. Like coaching felt helpful my residency year, and it like still feels helpful now my first year. I would say just deeper because I've learned more, and so I feel like the conversations I have with my coaches are more not peer to peer yet, but less of a gap than there was before. So it feels good to have those like deeper conversations.
And Wendy, do you have any reflections now that you're done with coaching, but maybe coming back around. It's really helping others, below you. Oh, you need to unmute yourself, Wendy.
Sorry. So coaching was just extremely beneficial. The coaches really align with whatever's going on in your school, so you weren't being pulled in opposite directions. And on top of like when administration's coming to observe you, you're getting a second wave of coaching on the side. So when administration is coming to observe you, you're the best you can be. And the coaching's just really improved my practice. It's been aligned to what my administration uses to score me. So everything has flowed seamlessly, which is really nice. And now I can use some of the things that my coaches have said to me or taught me. As a special ed department chair, I have to go in and observe my colleagues, and I can kind of in turn use some of the skills that my coaches taught me and use it to help my colleagues grow and develop.
Mm-hmm. Great. And so there is a question, and thank you, Tiara, for writing a response. So one of the question is, what is the coursework like, and what kind of assignments do you have? So if you can speak to that, and Tiara did write an answer, but if you can, talk about that a little bit, I think that's a great question for everybody to hear.
Yeah. Well, I can second what Tiara said. Coursework usually revolves around doing something in your classroom, whether with a whole group, a small group, one-on-one, whether like reading, math, whatever related, and then writing a paper that reflects on what went well, what didn't, and then like what you can do better next time.
Mm-hmm.
So it really revolves around making you reflective about, what you're doing well and what you can always do better at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the tasks that you are doing are things that you have just previously learned in your coursework. So for instance, you'll learn a classroom management tool about like transitioning, and then you'll be asked to go into your classroom and do that transition and record it. Yeah, and then like you said, just write about what happened, how did it go?
Mm-hmm. And just for me, I come in from time to time and see you guys. So I've seen I love how the courses are sort of modeling what you're to do in your classrooms. So I've seen your professors teach that transitioning, and I've seen you all line up outside the door, and one of your classmates is doing it to you guys, right? And having you come in, and then you all talk about it too. So I like that about our coursework too. I don't know if anyone wants to speak to that that's sort of how they're designed too also. So I like that. I've also seen also where they've had you all play different roles of like the student that's gonna do everything you ask.
Yeah.
The student that's only gonna do it when you're looking at them, and then do something else and not. So you role play a lot too with and with different students that are gonna have different behaviors in the class and what to do about them. So Scott, did you want to say more?
Oh no, I just unmuted myself to give you an affirmation.
Yeah. Okay. So then we are getting questions, and thank you, Tiara. So folks are always want to know where they are, whether they're online or not. So generally not online, though from time to time we dabble with a course. So I think Texas now has a course online, right? Yep. But generally they are in person and in a central location. I think all the sites just had to move theirs from the fall to the spring. But generally they are at extra classroom space in classrooms that are centrally located in schools in each of the cities. Though I think Baltimore is now at the School of Ed, that Johns Hopkins School of Ed building. Is that where you all going now? That's what I heard. No?
For Tiara and I, we're at Fed Hill.
Okay, you're still at the one that they've had all along.
Yeah, we're still there. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. And so the benefit of that, though, is in having it in the sort of a traditional classroom, is that's your learning lab. So it is set up like your classroom would be. So it makes a lot of sense. But folks definitely are in person and going through our program as a cohort. And I do want folks to talk about that too. And now more questions are coming in too. Yep, so I see Wendy's answered for the DC specific one. Thank you. So I do want to talk to you about the benefits of going through this program as a cohort. And obviously, there are a lot of City Year alums in our program, so I don't know if you do anything together or not. Terrence, if you're going around wearing that red shirt, then everyone's going to know where you came from, and I'm sure that helps you know all the City Year alums at your sites. But I'd love to know like how you think going through this program as a cohort has helped you. How does it help you? And I would say all of you, I think, all of you, none of you are from the cities that you are currently in. Is that right? Yeah, I think I'm right. Right? Yeah. So you all are transplants to the cities you're in because of Urban Teachers. So if you can talk a little bit about that having a cohort and starting out in a new city as part of Urban Teachers.
I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked how in our first summer we all lived together.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, the first summer is like the hardest part of the entire thing because you kind of just transition into a new city, into a new role. And living together, we're all like together like at all times. So 4 o'clock in the morning, we're up doing a paper. You're not by yourself. Everyone's up doing that same paper. You can kind of like bounce ideas off of each other. And because we all started together, like we all like form bonds with each other. So even though everyone doesn't talk every single day, everyone knows who to go to if they're in need of something. Because we all had a moment to like live together and get together at one point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then does that continue on, Tiara? Because you're in your second year now, you just get together like, for that one course, so not quite as intense as togetherness as it is during the residency year.
It has dwindled a lot because we're not like in our first year, we went together every single day because we had coursework every day, and now we only have it once a week. So we spend less time together, but we still have like Facebook group chats and things like that to stay connected.
Mm-hmm.
We still have like a PLC within ourselves as an entire cohort.
And that's professional learning community for folks who might, just in case. And then Wendy, how about you? How together are you with your cohort now that you're, year 4 of our program?
So, you definitely don't see or speak to each other as much. But like Tiara said, we still have our Facebook groups. I'd say at least once a month, somebody's posting out going to happy hours together, meeting up. And you see Urban Teachers offers a lot of social events so you can reconnect with your cohort. So you definitely, if you're willing and able to, go out and be social, you can definitely keep in touch with your cohort.
Mm-hmm. Great. How about for the residents, how, moving into town, if that was helpful. Tiara spoke to that a little bit, but anything more fresh for you guys?
So Imani and I and the rest of our cohort, we're still on our high. So we're all just friends and I can imagine I think that, and most people we've already spoke to it, but I think the biggest thing for me was I was leaving my family. I'm from a very small town where everyone knows each other, moving to a large metroplex where people who live in Dallas don't even sometimes even go to Fort Worth. Mm-hmm. So being in such a large city, I think the cohort part of this program just provides me that family that I've always had and that I'm used to having. I've become close with people who I may have never even spoken to on a regular, under any other circumstance, and learned things about different cultures and about different peoples that I was ignorant to before joining this program. So I really appreciate that learning aspect and that bond, friendship that we have.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also think it's great about coming into this program from City Year is that all the people from City Year just like connect. We just like gravitate towards each other, and especially like going through the summer and into your first year of the residency, you will like have flashbacks of your City Year days, and you can talk to somebody else who experienced it just like you did and is now going through this program the same way you're going through it. Mm-hmm. So being able to reflect on the past and like seeing how far you've come since your core years with City Year and how you're going through this program and becoming teachers, like there's a lot of growth there and a lot of time to reflect and collaborate and like just share experiences that you may have had.
Great. the next part I wanted to do was I definitely wanted you to sell your cities a little bit. So Terrence has been on before, so he knows that he's got to really sell Dallas Fort Worth, you both of you. But maybe we start there since you've already done this before. Everyone else can be ready. So why should these folks on the call go to Dallas Fort Worth?
It doesn't snow. It doesn't snow for real.
Yep, that's a good one.
People are friendly, nice. What else?
But also, it's a newer site. It's a newer cohort. This is our first year, so you get to be a part of really something groundbreaking. They don't know us here, so you'll be a part of that introduction ceremony that we call going to work every day. It really is a great city. There's tons and tons of things to do here. I was telling the last group, like, I go to concerts almost every other, at least once a month here, and they're cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had never been a taco person, but it becomes part of your bloodstream. Like, Texas is the place to be, I think.
It's really good. There's something for everybody to do. There's always something going on. There's a lot of free things to do. It's a fun place, a nice place.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big place to explore.
Mm-hmm.
So join us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How about DC or Baltimore? Who would like to pitch? or just why you chose those places?
Yeah, so I'll say in advance, don't let my poor salesmanship turn you against Baltimore. Baltimore also has a lot of things to do. I've seen a taco or two in Baltimore also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love the people there. I feel like it's a lot of different geographies and elements cobbled together. So even if you're not a fan of the aesthetic or the cuisine in one area, just walk a bit and you'll get to a completely different spot that might be up your alley a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I think there's more water.
That too.
Yeah.
There is snow.
Yeah. So I'm just saying what's different than Dallas Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
The Chesapeake Bay right there. And then the history of Baltimore too.
Yeah. There's aspects.
Different than Dallas Fort Worth too. All right, DC. Why'd you all pick DC? And what do you like about living there? Angela, Wendy?
I was going to say something about Baltimore.
Okay, go ahead, Tiara.
So when I had came to Baltimore, it was right after the uprisings in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was to understand the great need of effective teachers here.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you kind of really get to see that Baltimore needs great teachers. So if you're really dedicated to closing the achievement gap, Baltimore is a place to be because they can definitely use teachers who are dedicated to moving students.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Baltimore was where Freddie Gray happened, and there was a citywide upheaval. Yep. So thanks for bringing that up. Wendy and Angel for DC. It's a different place now.
So yeah, DC, there's a lot of free things to do. Besides being the nation's capital, I mean, you have tons and tons of museums that are free, just a lot of great things you can do for very low cost. It's a small city, so it's pretty easy to navigate and figure it out. There's just, we really need teachers here. In my school alone, I have 7 vacant positions. So we really need teachers here that are willing to commit and serve the kids here in DC. So it's a great city, a lot of free stuff to do, a lot of fun things, and we need teachers here.
Great. So we are getting a question specifically for Texas. So I don't know, Terrence, you look like you're concentrating, like you might be typing. But they're asking what portion of students speak Spanish as a home language. And I don't know the answer to that, Terrence, but it is a requirement for the state of Texas that all the teachers have at least English as a second language certification. So that's why it is part of our program for Texas. It is different than bilingual certification. So our teachers do not need to speak Spanish to get that certification. You would, if you were doing bilingual. Bilingual is a much higher standard. We do, however, look for teachers who are bilingual for all of our cities. I do know the stat because I just saw about a week ago for Dallas that there's 233 different languages spoken. But somebody did ask me, well, isn't most of them still Spanish? So I believe so, but I don't know that specific answer. So Terrence, yeah, do you know?
Yeah, I also don't know the exact statistic, but I can say from my experience, I've been in 2 classrooms so far, both of them been classrooms of 26 students. And out of those, maybe 3 of those students collectively were only spoke English. So majority of the students within the Uplift charter network that we work in speak Spanish.
And I did get to go to a Dallas ISD school 2 weeks ago, and that school was definitely almost 100% Spanish speakers. So I know there's big differences in Dallas-Fort Worth. So depending where you are, the student population can be very different, but a good majority, I think, are Spanish speakers. And Dallas ISD in particular has really actually gotten a lot of, is well known for its dual language immersion programs, which we are not preparing our teachers for. We hope down the line we can, but again, that takes the bilingual certification. So a teacher needs to really have, proficiency in both English and Spanish to get those placements, and we aren't doing that currently. Let's see. Yeah, so at this point, I'm happy to open it up if folks have additional questions who are listening in tonight. I just wanted to sort of we'll see if any more come up here, but just to sort of end this evening, I'd love for folks to just talk about if you can talk about either what's been the most rewarding thing about your work or advice you have for individuals on the call. So if each of you could take one of those to finish up here, and then if there are other questions here, we'll sideline to those, but rewarding or advice for the City Year folks.
I'll go for advice.
Okay.
Definitely find a healthy work, social life balance. You don't want to let work consume you because it could kind of stress you out and burn you out quick. So you have to find a good work-life balance.
Great. All right, advice or
the advice I always share is just make sure that this is a program that you want to do. It shouldn't be something that you do because something else didn't work out, because it does take your time and dedication. So you want to make sure that you are fully committed in being as effective as you can, because every interaction we have with students impacts the student. So when we come in the classroom and then just leave suddenly, that also impacts students. Just want to make sure that when you're doing it, you're being intentional with your decision.
Just to kind of build off of that, and also with City Year, it always push being flexible. So being in this program, having to be very flexible. Like for me personally, this whole experience has been something that I didn't plan on it going this way. Like, unfortunately, my teacher, she was diagnosed with cancer, and she ended up passing away a few months ago. So I had to take on the responsibilities of being the lead teacher. So that's been very difficult and very harsh. Just being flexible, being open, asking for help. Not thinking you have to take on everything by yourself. Keeping good people around you. Like Terrence has really been there for me, and I really appreciate him. Being ready to work hard. This is very hard.
I will say my favorite city of PITW is PITW 159. This is hard. Be strong.
Be strong.
It applies to this program.
I love those. I forget them. Yeah. I love all of those. And it's a whole book, right? Those are good. Anybody else? Advice or rewarding? Wendy, I don't know if you could speak a little bit to your work with special ed students, just to have that.
So I guess rewarding and advice in one, perseverance, working with any students, but in particular my work with special education students, you just have to keep persevering and pushing through. You're not going to see those gains you want to see overnight, but you will see them if you push through all year long. So really just if things don't go right one day, let it go and give it your all the next day. And you'll really see the rewards and the gains at the end of the year from your students, and they recognize it and they'll appreciate, they might not show it, but they appreciate everything that you did for them. And they'll come back the next year when they unfortunately don't have a greatest teacher as you and tell you how much they missed your class or how much they appreciate how much you taught them. So just push through, have some perseverance, and it'll really be great for your students.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah. My advice is, like, if you come into this program, take it for what it is and don't try to make it what City Year was, I guess, if that makes sense. So I know early on I came in and I was like, oh, I did City Year, I can do anything. But the reality is this program is very different. They're both learning experiences. So you're going to get something new out of this than you didn't get from City Year. And if you go into it thinking that just because you had that City Year experience under your belt, that this is going to be a piece of cake, then you're going to put yourself in a box where it's going to be difficult for you to get out of that box and grow into the teacher that you need to be. So going into this, just take it as something completely new, learn from it, because in coursework, you're going to learn so much. And that's one of the huge benefits of this program, is like continuously learning and continually growing every day.
Mm-hmm. Scott, do you want to weigh in? And we do have a question too about the people around you, I think. So I know I don't think any of you are married, but the people around you, your friends or partners or whatevers, you know, I think I don't know, how they help you or don't help you in this space. They probably don't see you a whole lot in the residency. I think we own up to that, right?
And this is such a unique experience that I think the reason our cohorts are so close-knit or so tight-knit is because it's such a unique experience that you can try to share your experience with other people, but they won't really understand.
Mm-hmm.
So you're forced to build these connections and these relationships with people because they get it.
Mm-hmm.
My family is as supportive as they can be, but that only goes so far because they don't truly understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, Angel, if you're talking to me, are you talking to us? No. Okay.
Well, I was just hearing a little bit. So I actually found my partner through this program. So one huge plus was that he went through this experience and he's able to understand what I'm going through right now and why I come home seeming so crazy. But one thing that I've noticed, like just from other people who have significant others that don't live in this area, or families that aren't from this area, is that, like people have said, we've created our own sense of family and community out here. And the people at home, they just won't understand it. If they haven't been through it, they won't understand it. But at the end of the day, you are still you, and making sure that you have your own balance and making sure that you're taking care of home, work, and school, like Tiara was saying earlier, then you'll be fine.
Right. All right. Scott, do you want to finish us up here?
Yeah. So I can't top the advice that's been given. I definitely second all of it. What's been really rewarding for me is just those small moments where you see students learning because of things that like you're doing. That just feels really good. And again, yeah, just like those small moments when you see like students getting better at reading, getting better at and then as far as like family loved ones go, yeah, I think there are times where I want to be around people who know exactly what I'm going through. And there's other times where like, I don't want that. And I think that speaks to the work life. That thing. And yeah, like my family's I'm from Florida originally, and that's where my family is. And yeah, they're proud.
Great. Good. All right. Well, that's a nice way to end. So I want to thank everybody for helping do this webinar tonight for our City Year friends, and hope that we have our biggest City Year cohort coming to Urban Teachers. That's the plan. So thank you for all you do. Have a good night, everybody. Thank
Good night.
you.
Great.